We'll start today with the countdown to the high-stakes U.S. presidential election on Tuesday. The result could, of course, have a profound impact on Canada-U.S. relations. Protectionism in both parties is on the rise, and both candidates have shown or signaled a readiness to reopen the North American free trade deal. The federal government here says it has been preparing for this election for months with a Team Canada war room in place since January. So what's at stake for this country Tuesday? David McNaughton served as Canadian ambassador to the United States from 2016 to 2019, and Kelly Craft served as U.S. ambassador to Canada from 2017 to 2019. Hi to both of you. It's a great pleasure to welcome you to the program together as well. Thanks for making the time.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Hey, David.
Hey, Kelly.
Ambassador Craft, I will start with you. And I think the perception, certainly here in Canada, is this is an incredibly close race, just based on all the polling that we are seeing over the last number of months. Is it your sense that it is as close as it seems?
You know, I think what the American people are concerned about is the economy. I mean, their pocketbook issues. So when you look at those issues and you speak to people, rather than look at the polls, when you speak to people, you understand what their concerns are. And President Trump has a proven record. And if anyone knows that better, it's Canada. You know, his proof is with USMCA, which I know that we'll be discussing, and the importance of USMCA. And this man is committed to the United States of America. And what happens when we have a strong America? We have a strong Canada. So I am fully expecting President Trump to be elected, and very excited for election night.
Mr. McNaughton, you're very familiar, obviously, with the U.S. electorate as well, having spent a number of years there in the capacity that you did. What is your sense about what Ambassador Craft just said? Do you think that, in particular, I guess, on the closeness of the race, is it your feeling that it is going to come down to getting out the vote, for example?
Well, I mean, as you know, it all comes down to sort of around 5 states. I mean, it's Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Michigan and Nevada and Arizona. The rest of it's pretty well decided. So the one thing I will say, and we'll see what happens. I don't, I'm not going to put a lot of money one way or the other. But one of the things that I've always sort of tried to follow in polls is, do you think the country's on the right track or the wrong track? And the overwhelming numbers in the United States are that they're on the wrong track. So that makes it difficult for an incumbent to win.
Yeah, and certainly we are seeing incumbents here in Canada as well as in other places in the world face that challenge. Ambassador Craft, you mentioned the economy and trade, and I have a number of questions on that front. But when I was researching for this interview, I read a lot of things that you have written or interviews that you have done about the Canada-U.S. relationship, and you kept emphasizing security and defense even more specifically, and the significance in your view of Canada spending on defense to former President Trump. Can you expand on that for our viewers today? Like, if President Trump ultimately, as you think he will be, is successful and comes back into office, how important is Canada's record on defense?
Even the Secretary General complimented President Trump because he was very adamant, even during my time in Canada, that all of the NATO countries pay their 2%. Canada, you can do better. I know you can do better. And this is a conversation that we've been having since 2017. I believe Canada now is at 1.37% of your GDP for NATO. But what's important for Canadians to understand is a strong Canada is going to also provide deterrence. And your threats are no longer coming from Eastern Europe. Let's talk about the Arctic. Let's talk about the U.S. defense budget. I mean, under Donald Trump, our defense budget was at its highest. We have a very strong military. We are prepared and understand the threat of the Arctic. We understand with Canada, 40% of your land mass is part of the Arctic. I think that Canadians need to understand that if you don't have a strong military, if you do not have a strong stance in NATO, then how is that going to deter Russia and China and all the other threats? And there's another threat, and that is our southern border and the northern border. I think people tend to forget that Vice President Harris was the border czar, and that's not just our southern border, which, by the way, is a mess with illegal immigrants, with terrorists, with drug trafficking, with human trafficking. That's the northern border also. So I believe that Canada needs to wake up and understand that once you work from within and you strengthen, you will have no better friend than the United States under a Trump presidency, because we have a proven record.
I just want to follow up with you before I go back to Mr. McNaughton. When you reference the northern border, and certainly you're not the only person to raise concerns about the security there, are you likening it to the situation that your party views at the southern border? Because I do understand some concerns, but I'm not sure there's evidence there to support the idea that it's, that the security concerns are to the same level as they would be on the southern portion. And what do you think President Trump would like to see in that regard? Like, is it, as you point to, spending more of our GDP? Is it more security at the border in some capacity? Like, what are the specifics, do you think?
I think it's all of the above. I think you have to understand that day one, Donald Trump is going to shut our southern border down. So all of these illegal immigrants, all of the terrorists, all of the drug traffickers, the drug cartels, the human traffickers, the fentanyl, and I'm certain that Canada has a fentanyl problem, right? I mean, I would think they would. Well, where are all of the illegal immigrants going to go? Where are all of the bad actors going to be crossing over? They are going to flee to Canada because they know that once Donald Trump comes to office, they're out of here. So they'll be fleeing over the northern border. The northern border is as important to Canada as the southern border is to the United States. And it poses a real threat, because if you don't protect your northern border, you will have the same bad actors coming in as you do coming in now, for that matter. But you will have them coming in by the thousands, because they will be leaving our country because they know Donald Trump will take them and they're out of here.
Mr. McNaughton, let me get your perspective on that, because you're one of the first people whom I've interviewed over the last few years who brought up the fact that you were certainly getting the message that that people in different administrations were concerned about security at the northern border. Obviously, the situation that Ambassador Kraft lays out, the pledge that the former president has made to deport people from that country, present a whole new set of circumstances. What is your view on how that situation might evolve for the federal government in this country?
Well, I mean, obviously, if Donald Trump follows through, if he were president and he followed through on his commitment to deport, people that Kelly's just talking about, it would be a real challenge for us. I mean, there's no question about that. But I'd like to go back to something else, she said, which I have been saying for a long time, and that is that, we need to, as a country, do more on defense and security. And, talking about spending targets and things like that, I understand that that's kind of almost table stakes, but what I'd like to see is real commitment to being a reliable defense and security partner by acting not by 2032 or 2035 or whatever it is, but by actually taking action now. I mean, when I was ambassador, I went and visited the NORAD headquarters, and they did a simulation of, an intercontinental ballistic missile going from North Korea, and it would take 8 minutes to get to the west coast of North America. We're facing a lot of different challenges, different threats at the present moment, and we just have to do better. We just have to, be a reliable and committed security and defense partner of the United States of America. And I think to some degree, and this isn't just this government, the Trudeau government's fault, or that it was happening well before that. So it's been both conservative and liberal governments have not done what we needed to do in terms of playing, being a reliable partner on security and defense, and we need to.
I'll just quickly.
Can I just say something?
Yeah, you go ahead, and then I'll.
David, I think Canada has a real opportunity, and you and I have been agreeing upon this since we both of us first were serving. Canada has an opportunity in the Arctic, and this is a real opportunity to strengthen your military, strengthen your budget with NATO, because that's part of the Arctic. the more, you upgrade your icebreakers. I mean, we need to understand Russia has 44 icebreakers. That is a real problem. Under Donald Trump, we increased our budget for icebreakers. He understood the importance. And furthermore, if you think about where you are with the Arctic, I mean, you have a lot to lose there in that area. Mm-hmm. The natural resources, the trading routes, we all do. And I think that is an area where Canada and the U.S. could work hand in glove with, and that would be protecting all of North America.
And I certainly do understand, and you and many different administrations have made the point that Canada should invest more in its military. But when you, for example, talk about the degree to which it's important for NATO, I mean, Donald Trump, with the greatest of respect to you, Ambassador, has downplayed the significance of NATO, has threatened to leave it, has threatened to allow Russia to invade allies if they don't spend enough. Does he have the authority, I guess the moral authority, to levy threats against a country like Canada in that vein? Should we take them seriously, given his commitment to NATO seems to be perilous at best?
He is committed to NATO, but what we are not going to allow is the American people to carry most of the burden. And look, what if he had not have stressed that the other countries in NATO pay their 2%? What would have happened now? Russia has invaded Ukraine. They would be in a real predicament, the countries that stand in the way with Russia and Ukraine. You look at Finland, you look at the other NATO countries, I mean, the border countries of Russia, they understand the importance, they get it. And that's why Donald Trump is insisting that countries that are not yet at the 2%, they need to step up. 2032 is that's not good enough. And I know David agrees with that. They need to be strengthening their military now, because you all have a real threat with the Arctic.
Okay, I'm going to leave it on that note. Thank you very much, both of you, for making time for the discussion. I appreciate it. Former ambassadors David McNaughton and Kelly Craft.